can you describe it? Because it seems like it's a new you and a new way of thinking, and like this thing you didn't even know that was consuming your mind and your thoughts and your insecurities, and now that's just gone?
Every single decision that I've ever had to make from the time I was 7 until last July, every single decision, how I get up and turn around and walk out of a room, or if I'm standing somewhere, they were the focus of like what I was trying to hide. I mean,
nobody else noticed, really.
No, dude.
Isn't that crazy how our minds can make up a reality, like you said, it's not even real?
It haunted me, right? It haunted me.
Have you already done the podcast have you already talked to everybody and done this with him and stuff about your surgery and everything?
No.
I'm enjoying texting you jokes every now and then.
It's so much fun, man. And
I'll be sitting at a buffet somewhere and I'll be like, oh, I just thought of fucking 3 jokes about getting your boobs removed.
It's given me so many different types of avenues and angles. And
has any of it worked?
So I haven't used a lot of those on stage. I've brought them with Neil, and Neil and I have been like, okay, let's see if we can figure out what, so it's been worked on for sure. Okay. But yeah, just trying to figure those things out. I really love the angle of man boobs being sexist. So that's like one of my favorite angles right now.
Yeah, I like that angle.
And
it's funny.
Yeah, so it's been great, man. And you keep them coming because that is just fun.
I want to watch again, and then it's like I think that's what happened. Watching you, I was like, a couple lines stuck with me, and I was like, oh, blah blah blah, yeah, and then it just seems such an opening for.
Well, you got a lot of material out of it.
Yeah, I have.
It's all done pretty well.
I have at least 5 minutes on boobs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not have material in your act because you've lived with them your whole life? So it seems like you would already have material, or would you do things to avoid talking about it or drawing attention to it?
That's exactly what it was. I didn't want to bring attention to it. I mean, I knew they were out there. You could totally tell and see, but it was like I didn't. I've been doing stand-up for a few years now, and I've always asked myself, like, why are you talking about your boobs, dude? Like, it was very.
I never noticed before, by the way.
Really?
No,
That's,
I think I think you're a big dude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and
as
you're
a
right.
wrestler, they didn't like that. Seems like they would really hang out the singlet.
Oh, they did. So even when I was, I'm really big right now at this point in my life. So it probably seems like, yeah, he's got man boobs. But when I was like fit, I still had C cups. So I'm like shredded and jacked, but I have these women tits, Yeah. So like, it was always, I think to me, it was always such a source of pain that I wasn't ready to talk about it yet. And then when my wife and I had decided that it was time to look into surgery, then I'll admit it, I started feeling really good about it. And I was like, actually, maybe now I can talk about it. And so I started writing some stuff about it, and then I got the surgery, and then that gave me that.
I can't believe I didn't write that. They always seem easy once they're written.
Damn it. But yeah, it was. So I think that having that, knowing that I was going to get them taken off and all that stuff was like, I started to get more comfortable about saying, hey, I had this thing that I've always had, and so I think that if I hadn't have gone to get the surgery, maybe I would have never talked about it, or maybe it would have taken me a lot more years to even get to the point to where because I spent my entire life trying to hide them.
Right.
Because like I say, when I was a pro wrestler, I had a really good physique, except for my boobs. And so I wore a singlet, and I'd always have to make sure I wore a singlet that was high up, so that way they didn't fall out. Because I wore some that were like low, and you move one certain way and they just flop right out, and you're like, God, this is embarrassing.
What was your closing move? The motorboat?
Yeah. No, I opened with that. That was.
I just feel like wrestling's got a reputation of being like you guys are both on the mic talking shit about one another.
Yeah.
Was that something that you knew way more than other people noticed, or other people would be like, huh, that looks, or was it like, dude, this dude's got tits?
In wrestling, it was a known thing. It was like, wow, this guy's got some tits. Like, it's weird because he's like, you can tell he works out and he looks good, but what's up with these tits?
I don't think I've ever noticed boobs on a man before.
Really?
Like, I thought, that guy's got tits. Like, I'd never, unless it's like I said, like a big dude, and you're like, oh, he's just overweight and got some boobs going. but I've never looked at a fit dude and been like, that guy's got boobs.
Yeah.
How rare is it?
So it's called gynecomastia, and it's not
Gynecomastia?
Gynecomastia.
Is that something that the Indians gave us?
Yeah, those bastards.
Gynecomastia.
Gynecomastia. They call it gyno for short. So I didn't even know what it was. I grew up my entire life thinking that I was the only one. Like like not even like woe is me. Like I was like, there's nobody else. No kids have like girl boobs,
I've
dude.
never met a single soul.
Yeah. And so when I got into wrestling, it was like a year into wrestling, and this bodybuilder, Shane, comes up to me and he goes, hey man, he goes, if you need anybody to take care of that for you, I can help you out, you know? And I said, take care of what? And he goes, your gyno. And it's so nonchalant. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, your man boobs. And I said, I can't just work out. I'm working so hard right now I'm like 19, like working so hard to get this off. He goes, that'll never come off.
Because you just thought it was from being out of shape or overweight? Or
Yeah.
just...
I always thought, actually, I didn't know what it was from. I just thought I was cursed. You know, I was like, why is this happening to me? You know?
Yeah, of course.
And
I think we all would do that.
And I didn't know. And so when he's put a word to it and a name to it, I was like, so this is a thing. And I researched, this is in 2003. So I like went online and I was like, all right, ask Jeeves or whatever it was at the time. And I'm like, how do I, what's gynecomastia? And then I read
You're like,
that,
hey, Jeeves, eyes up here.
yeah, Jeeves, I'm right here.
Okay.
And it basically was like, yeah, you have to get it cut out. It's a gland that builds. I don't know exactly what it's all from. It may be from too much estrogen or too much something like during puberty. But I had it before puberty. I got them at like 8. When I was 8, I started getting these boobs. And so I didn't know. I just didn't know it was a thing. And so, through wrestling, it was a known. I remember one time this guy goes, dude, he was trying to help me with my physique, my good friends. And he goes, dude, I don't know what else to do. He goes, I don't know what else to do. He goes, you just have a weird body. And he was being sincere. He was like, I just don't know what to do with it, man. Like,
right. Yeah, when you have a system that works, and then you know what I mean, you have a different body than that, so you're like, I don't know what to do with this.
And at the time I started wrestling, the only company out there was WWE. Vince had bought out WCW, ECW. There was just independent federations,
Right.
Or in our case, bar shows. And then there were the big arena shows, right? So that was WWE at the time. So, and all they wanted at that time were bodybuilders. They just wanted a look. They didn't care how good you could wrestle. They're like, we'll teach them. So at that point in the business, you had to look good. So all I was focusing on was like, I need to look big and jacked and huge and all this stuff, but I couldn't get rid of my boobs. And so it was always it was always noticed because I'd try to get a job or
were you trying to figure out what's a cardio I can do?
Oh
Like,
man, dude, I was doing weird shit. I was like, maybe if I do one of these all day,
yeah.
like weird, stupid things, and it never. I do diamond
Does
push-ups.
it run in your family?
No, nobody else. Well, I say no, but when I got them cut out and I called my aunt and I told my aunt that I got my boobs cut out, she goes, that's a Gilbert thing. So my grandma, her maiden name is Gilbert.
Yeah.
She said it's a Gilbert thing, but I don't really think that's true because I've seen some pictures.
Yeah.
And nobody had fucking Fs like me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? They're big. They were they had to be at least triple Ds.
Were you by some of the stuff you were doing? Were you making them grow when you were trying to make them go smaller?
Yeah.
Were you...
So no, I never did steroids. That would have just made it crazy. But I took clenbuterol for a little bit of period of time, and that's like a fat burner, but it's like a steroid kind of like a fat burner. It's really.
Do you have an increased chance of breast cancer?
See, I always wondered that. My aunt died of breast cancer.
Probably. Right.
So, but I got
Not
it cut
anymore.
out, so I'm probably good now. But but I'd always feel them just in case,
They
'cause
won't grow back.
No, the doctor said they shouldn't grow back.
Okay.
Because they took out the gland.
And I've gained 30 pounds since my surgery, and they haven't grown back. So I think
Okay.
I think I'm okay.
How's
But
your uterus?
it's taking a hit.
Yeah.
It's taking a it hurts every
Do
in
you
the
find
winter.
that do you find that men that want to transition into being a woman are irritated at you for they're jealous that you had what's a thing that they have to take medications to create you're like, I got to get rid of this thing.
Yeah, I'm you know.
Life's not fair.
Yeah, I'm sure there's that. Yeah, you know,
Would it have made it easier for you to transition to be a woman if you'd wanted?
it'd been way easier for me to be a chick, for sure. Because I wouldn't have had to take any hormones.
I mean, minus the rest of you.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just. But I mean, there's the rest of them anyway. I mean,
my huge dick would have been a problem.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to say I'm huge, but I can titty fuck myself. What I'm saying is, so you, that's what I mean. Are there has to be, the math of it would be that there's somebody that wants to transition, that it is easier because they do have that issue. You're like, I don't just feel like a woman on the inside. Look at this.
Yeah. Look at all this. See?
It's this dick that's wrong. That's messing me up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's got to be people out there who are transitioning and they have gynecomastia. Because now that I know about that, dude, it's everywhere.
That's what I mean. When you went to the doctor to go, were you like, holy shit, the waiting room is filled with other people like me? And I never met anyone else.
No, the nurse thought I was transgender, though.
I would assume that would be their first inclination.
Yeah. At least I don't know if that's what it is. I have a bit about it, but it's like, I think the nurse, like, when she was like, Jeremy, she goes, you go by Jeremy, right? And I was like, yeah, you know, like, so I think that I do think that transgender and those reassignment surgeries are such a common thing now that people definitely wondered as I'm waiting in that lobby. They're like, wait, is he a woman though? Or is he a...
So did that, when you go in and you see, like, and what, like you said, you started looking into it in 2003. I cut you off. We were trying to find jokes. But then did you start to come across other people that had this in their families or had it? Never, really.
Never.
So when did you start to recognize that this is a thing? A lot of people have it. Here's a doctor I can go to, and there's 50 people, not 50, but there's 30 of us in line here to do this. And
I YouTubed it a few years back, and I found out that all these people are getting surgery and all this. You know, a lot of it is guys who take steroids, and then they get like small amounts of gyno, and they go, I got man boobs. I go, no, you just have puffy nipples.
Right.
These are man boobs, you know. But like a lot of guys get it from steroids. But then in looking through that, I would see these different grades of gynecomastia. So technically mine was grade 4 gynecomastia, which is like crazy, right? But I would see these dudes that had the same thing. It's just, there's just a lot. Okay. You know, like
they're grade 4, but they're reading on like
they're senior
on like
level,
10th grade level.
Yeah, no, they're in college already. And so once I started seeing that, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I started seeing it in other people in the world. Like, it's so strange, man. Because now that
now you're the guy walking up to somebody and be like, oh, you want to get that gyno worked on? And you're like, they're like, what? What do you mean?
Like you're gyno, you know? It was really weird because like I see it everywhere now. I see it everywhere. And I don't know if I see it as much of a case as I had, but I see it everywhere. And I think when I had it, it was a woe is me, even though I didn't let that outwardly, that was not my identity because I didn't want people to notice that. But inwardly, I was like, this is only happening to me. And then now that I don't have them, I do, when I go out in the world, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's got gyno.
So have you noticed, I don't even know how to ask this.
I think the number one cause of gynecomastia for men is it's a male disorder, but I think it's adolescent obesity.
You know, but I wasn't very obese.
You told me a story about you were eating dinner at your friend's house, and then came home and ate dinner.
I was going to say until I was 7. Yeah, until I was 7. I wasn't obese until I was 7. And then I was eating 2 dinners for 3 years. I would go to my neighbor's house and eat the dinner with them. Right. And then I'd just walk across the street and have dinner with my family. And and that was around the time I developed them. You're right. You're right. Oh, okay. That was around the time I developed them. I was at the
Here
pool.
I thought you had some rare disorder, and you're just like, no, I just ate a lot when I was 7.
No, I'm just a fatty.
Yeah. And there just isn't a specific workout for cardio. You think getting rid of your stomach is hard. Try getting rid of this.
Yeah.
Certain people are more predisposed to it, though. You have to have those glands.
Okay. Yeah, because
if you do, then you'll just build fat deposits.
It's a hormonal imbalance for sure.
But it's not. Is it mammary glands? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's full on boobs. Like it's.
So if you're around a crying baby, would you start to lactate?
No. No. I never had any. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second. I was like, there was that one time. No, it never lactated. And you know, I never even had all the pain that people with gyno say they have pain.
I was going to ask you that too. Like, I know boobs are like they're hard to run with. They're hard. Like, they get hit. There's pain in them too.
I used to have Band-Aids over my nipples when I went running.
Oh yeah. Because
my shirt would rub against. They would just keep rubbing against. I would if I didn't, I would come back from the run. Not that I ran a lot, but when I would run, I'd come back and
you had to run across the street to get your second dinner. That was the only time.
That's right. My nipples would be chafed. They would be like rug burned from my shirt because they would be just flipping, just sliding around in my shirt, right? And
sports bra.
I should have.
Did you ever ace bandage them down? Like, you know what I mean? To try to keep them from, like, you said you were embarrassed by them. Would you try to figure out ways to hide them? And
yeah, I would wear 2 shirts. I'd wear a t-shirt and then I would wear a short sleeve button up over it, but I wouldn't button it. So it'd be like open, you know, and I would try to hide it that way. And I
would dress like the 90s.
Yeah. I wore 2 t-shirts for a long time. And I would be the kid at the YMCA because I love the YMCA because they had an awesome water slide. But I'd be the only kid with a t-shirt on. And so all these kids are sliding down this water slide like super fast. And then there's me with a shirt on. So I'm all the way down. And I tried to hide it in certain ways, but I never compressed them down.
Okay.
You know?
So did you, now that the surgery is done, does it, like you're saying, like you walk around and notice it and so you don't have that sort of, I don't want people to notice this about me. So that seems like a level of like mental relief that I can't describe, or I can't even imagine that I can see that you have it, but can you describe it? Because it seems like it's a new you and a new way of thinking, and like this thing you didn't even know that was consuming your mind and your thoughts and your insecurities, and now that's just gone?
Every single decision that I've ever had to make from the time I was 7 until last July, every single decision, how I get up and turn around and walk out of a room, or if I'm standing somewhere, they were the focus of like what I was trying to hide. I mean,
nobody else noticed, really.
No, dude.
Isn't that crazy how our minds can make up a reality, like you said, it's not even real? It
haunted me, right? It haunted me. And then I never thought in a million years that I would ever be relieved from that. I never thought. When I looked into surgery in 2003, it was 20 grand. And I'm like, I'll never have 20 grand. I'll never have 20 grand. I mean, if I make it in wrestling, at the time I was like, if I make it, maybe one day, but I'll never make it if I have these boobs. So like I was like, I'll never get it done. I'll just have to live with this forever. I'll never know what it feels like to not have them. And then all of a sudden, dude, I get in a good place in my life where we had a little bit of money to be able to actually entertain the idea. And it didn't even seem real. Even now, it doesn't seem real. And to have
even
that,
now, like even no matter how much money you have, 20 grand is still a lot of money.
Well, it's not 20 grand anymore.
Oh, they're cheaper now?
Yeah, it was cheaper. It was like, yeah, it was like half that, you know?
Still,
but more as an adult person, I can figure out ways to have that, you know, when I was when I was living in my car.
Of course, of course.
And so to have that gone, man, it's hard to describe. It gets me emotional, man, because like
I can see already. I'm imagining.
It's like it's a new way of looking at life. It's a new way of looking at myself in this life.
Yeah.
I can walk into a room and now I worry about my belly instead
That's what
of
I mean.
my,
Did your insecurities and like that
Dude.
thing, because emotionally and your mind and your body identifies with that human being that has that insecurity and worry about what other people think. So that I imagine part of that vanishes, but do you now does that part of you that survived that way within you switch to now you have a different thing that you're equally as insecure about? That'd be miserable that we have to do that. We can't just that just doesn't vanish. It just shifts to a new thing about yourself.
And it's not as intense as that, but yes.
Huh.
You know, like
That's
for
a
instance,
shame,
when
to be
it is, but you know what though, it almost feels like a normal thing. It's not what how I felt about my chest before was like abnormally. It was like fucking so consuming. But like now it's like, oh well, you know, if I could get like for instance when they cut me, dude, they fucking They cut me all the, it's like a boomerang, boom, and then up, right? Because they took the sides and this. So I have these two little pieces right here that are kind of, they not bubbly is not the right word, but it's like, it's not flat, right? And they call them dog ears, right? Because they don't know where to stop cutting, where to whatever. It'll go down when I lose weight, but all I see when I look down are these two little like
Okay. Now you
things
still find the defects.
Yes, yes.
Now the defects is just to move to a different place.
Yes. Now I'm not as insecure, not even remotely like I
Right.
was before, but there is a part of you that goes, oh yeah, but these fucking things, you know, or things like that. So I still
That's just the shitty part of your mind.
I'm still
that
a
does,
person that like doesn't
right?
like things about myself, but
Right.
but it doesn't.
We all have it. But do you have intellectually though? Do you now will it help you to those insecurities that you now start to notice? Will you also be like, oh, nobody probably notices those either?
Yeah, yeah. Like I think I sound retarded when I try to explain things, like when I have a point of view. But that's not true. You know what I mean?
No,
like
yeah.
it's these things that you don't like about
That's
yourself.
how I always feel when he
Yeah,
leaves.
yeah.
I always feel like, oh my god, I'm so dumb. Like I can't even tell you how like. I texted him last time I was here. I was like, you remind me of why the show is named Dumbest Tom in the Room every time you're in the room.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and
It should be just the most humble Tom in the room.
Yeah. But it's like you think you're annoying, you know what I mean? Like you're like, does this people don't like it when I say this, when I talk like this, when I do, and that's not true, you know? And so it does make me look at certain aspects of my life and I go, oh, I guess I'm the only one that notices these things about me.
We project
Like,
too a lot.
yeah,
I'm learning
like-
about projection.
I feel like when I text you some of those lines that I've written, that like now I realize, okay, nobody really noticed before, but I feel like those would have been jokes your friends gave you shit about your whole like you've heard every man with tits
Bro.
joke. Can you stop? I've heard them all.
My name growing up was Jugs.
Oh yeah,
That's what my best friends called me.
of course, that's great.
Was Jugs.
yeah,
Funny.
I had my best friend growing up. He knew that it hurt me and stuff, you know. But like, and so he and I would have this like our own little thing about it, not with the other people, but like our own little thing. And so he'd call my tits Roseanne. You know, because Roseanne, the show was a big thing at the time, and
Yeah.
we thought, well, you're fat, you have big tits, so she's Roseanne. So we called him Roseanne. So we'd always be like Roseanne, Roseanne, and so there was always some sort of a little joke throughout my entire life that like would evolve into something different, and so I've heard them all, man. When I was a seventh grade, I was in my locker, and this chick walked past me and said, "Nice tits, bitch."
that's hilarious.
And I was like, at least I have some.
Yeah,
You
nice.
know? And, but yeah, so I've always had to like, yeah, it's always been a thing. But I mean, the premises that you come up with, I've never thought of because I've always not wanted to think about it. I've only now recently been opening
okay.
myself up to being like, yeah, this is kind of hilarious.
So do you read some of them and be like, that fucking hurts that he would say that?
I'm like a
about me."
fucking half minotaur, you asshole.
Half what?
Half minotaur, half fucking.
Oh, half
Or
minotaur.
not minotaur, whatever it was we were talking about. I can't remember, but
He's like
I mean,
It's like it's like mermaid jokes.
Yeah,
and
there was-
minotaur.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
He's a manotaur.
minotaur. But it's good, man, and it's healthy. It's like super healthy. The fact that I can like healthily like really laugh at it, dude, and like find cool things about it and funny things about it has been so therapeutic. And I didn't even mean for it to be therapeutic. It turns out, wow, it's kind of neat being able to find funny things and you know not be so dark about it all the time.
That's what I told him before he had him removed. Is like, dude, you should bring these to people's attention. Like you and when you were wrestling, you should have just.
Dude, my wrestling
It should have been
character.
a part of your.
That's what I
Fuck
mean.
yeah,
Like,
dude.
the doing like
Yeah.
the closing move of a motorboat. Like
Yup.
nothing would be more like these dudes that are on
Degrading.
steroids that are like,
Yup,
oh no, like
yup.
they would have been like that much. No, it would.
and
I
people would love it, man.
Yeah, they would love it. Yeah,
It was,
The fans would love it.
Fear made me conform to whatever I thought I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
of course.
And man, I would have, but he's right, dude.
So how much mental space does that cleared up for you now? Is
a
it
whole lot, and a whole lot of what's the word? Confidence. You know, like
Yeah.
more confidence, and
You have to be careful, I think, to not, because the mind is very powerful.
Yeah.
Our emotions are very powerful.
Yeah.
So you have to be I think you have to be very careful to hang on to that.
Yeah.
And to not let your mind go to what it's used to, which is beating you up
Yeah.
and to making you feel insecure and making you feel shitty about yourself or making you worry about what people think.
Yeah.
Because your mind will replace all that because that's emotionally what you're used to dealing with
Yeah.
for however many years you've been alive.
Yeah.
So you have to hang on to that sort of happiness and lightness that you have and keep, I think, and to be mindful of your mind replacing that. So
Yeah.
when you hear yourself beating yourself up, be like, oh, look what my mind's doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because you'll be right back there.
Yeah.
In 3 years with something else about yourself.
I'm already
if you
kind
allow
of
that.
I'm already kind of slipping in,
Yeah.
you know,
so
like so
I don't know, and I'm just making that up again based
Yeah.
on no knowledge.
But
of
but
just-
but, but you're absolutely right though, man.
That's- I mean, it's
like
true, yeah.
you know, because it didn't take long. You know, like life happens, things go down. You're
Yeah.
like, well, fuck, dude, and then you're back into like these weird thought patterns, and you're like, well, I was
You're like,
doing-
I'm bald.
Yeah.
I was so busy looking at my tits, I didn't even notice I was bald. Shit.
Turns
Have
out,
people known this the whole time?
turns out all my depression wasn't in my tits.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I see you looking at your watch. We better wrap this up then.
Yeah, I'm good, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm
We've been
good.
doing this- been at it for a while, so.
All right. Well, I can do this. You know, this is what we have. Well, like I say, you know how this show goes. We just
Oh, yeah.
talk. It's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no
You're
rules.
so good at goodbyes, Tom.
I've enjoyed hanging out with both of you. I don't,
been
you know
fun.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's a lot of fun.
there's no way to really end it except fucking let's go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?